So here we are, standing on the absolute edge of the Promised Land after 40 long years in the desert, and one of the greatest leaders in all of history is about to give his final speech. This is the story of the book of Deuteronomy.
Just try to picture this for a second. Moses, a man who has literally spoken face-to-face with God, who has led his people through impossible odds. Well, he knows his time is up, so he gathers everyone together for one last message. But, this isn't some sweet goodbye speech. No, this is a powerful, urgent warning that is going to shape their destiny for thousands of years to come.
Now, you've got to understand who he's talking to. This is so important. The generation that actually escaped from Egypt, the ones who saw all the plagues, who walked through the Red Sea, they're all gone. They died out there in the wilderness. Moses is now speaking to their kids, an entire new generation born in the desert who are now standing on the banks of the Jordan River, staring across at a home they've only ever heard stories about.
So yeah, this isn't just a speech, it's a final ultimatum. Moses is laying it all on the line. These are the terms for survival, the conditions for actually succeeding. This is his last stand, his one last shot to get this nation on the right track before he's gone for good. And this is where it gets really personal and just heartbreaking. He tells them flat out, "I'm not going with you. Because of your parents' failures, I am forbidden from ever setting foot in the Promised Land." Can you imagine? He can see it right there from the mountaintop, but he'll never reach it. So this warning, it comes from a place of deep personal tragedy.
So before he can tell them where they're going, he has to take them back to where they've been. The real heart of this whole thing is a history lesson. And he focuses on the painful, hard-won lessons, the scars they earned during 40 years in the wilderness.
He walks them through the whole journey, all the way from that incredible escape from Egypt and getting the law on the mountain to that just catastrophic failure at Kadesh Barnea. That's where their parents lost their nerve, refused to trust God, and got the whole generation condemned to wander until they died. And now, 40 years later, here they are, right back where they started.
And look, there's a clear reason for this trip down memory lane. He's not just telling old stories. He is hammering home the consequences of what happens when you disobey. He is desperate to make sure this new generation doesn't make the exact same mistakes. But the wilderness wasn't only about punishment. Moses explains that it was also a kind of training ground. All the hunger, the thirst, having to rely on that weird, mysterious bread from heaven, it was all designed to teach one huge lesson. Real life isn't just about food. Real survival comes from being faithful to God. Okay. So this whole history lesson, it's all building up to the main event, the central point of this entire book, the renewal of a divine contract. For this new generation, this is their second chance. And this is where the name of the book itself tells you everything you need to know. Deuteronomy literally means second law. But it's not like Moses is making up new rules. Think of it more like he's restating, he's re-explaining the original deal for an audience who wasn't around to hear it the first time. And right at the very heart of this contract, this is the core of everything, is what's known as the Shema. It's the central pillar of the entire faith. It says everything else is built on this one idea: absolute, total devotion. It's not about just ticking off boxes and following rules. It's about a deep, all-in kind of love and loyalty. So Moses basically boils their whole future down to two paths. That's it, just two. Path one, remember the deal. Remember God, especially when things are good. Teach this stuff to your kids. Be different. Be holy. Or, path two, forget. Forget God, start worshiping the local gods, and end up just like all those other nations, gone. The choice couldn't be more clear. And this all leads to the big, dramatic climax of his speech, because now it's not just about remembering or forgetting. Moses raises the stakes. He attaches massive, cosmic consequences to their choice. He lays out two totally different destinies for the entire nation. He literally says, look, I am putting it right in front of you today, a blessing and a curse. He's presenting them with two doors. One leads to life, to flourishing. The other leads to absolute disaster. And the choice is theirs. No one else's. And the rewards for getting it right? They're incredible. Moses paints this picture of a national golden age. He's talking fruitful lands, growing families, victory in battle, becoming a leading nation on the world stage. The head, not the tail. It is a future that is just bursting with promise. But then, there's the other side of the coin, and the curses for disobedience are just as extreme, and they are absolutely terrifying. He talks about disease,
plagues, humiliating defeat in battle. He says they'll be filled with panic and madness, and then the ultimate consequence, being conquered and scattered all over the world, losing the very land they're about to fight for.
So this makes you stop and ask a pretty big question, right? This isn't just some vague, be good or else warning. The details here are so intense, so specific that you have to wonder, why was Moses so terrified for them? What did he know about people? And what did he see coming in their future that filled him with this much dread?
And that's it. The speech is done. The warning has been delivered, and now we get to these final, heavy moments of this great prophet's life, with his entire 40-year legacy just hanging in the balance.
Think about it. He's led them for 40 years. He has fought for them, he has argued with God for them, he's poured his entire life into them. And now he stands on that mountain, looking at the land he'll never touch, and his only hope is that his final words were enough. That this generation, unlike their parents, will finally choose the blessing. That they'll choose life.
And with his death, a massive chapter of history slams shut. The era of wandering in the desert, the era of receiving the law, the era of Moses is over. And a brand new one is about to start. The era of conquest, the era of the sword. When you boil it all down, the book of Deuteronomy is really a leader's last passionate plea for his people to choose a path that leads to life. Which kind of leaves us with the big question for ourselves. If you had one final message, one last warning, one last piece of advice to give to the world, what would it be?